Heartwarming transformation, discovering my wife's hidden betrayal at a barbecue, incredible revenge revealed. Jake flipped burgers on the grill, the sizzle filling the air like a melody of summer. He was the heart of this neighborhood barbecue, a tradition that brought everyone together. Kids laughed while couples reminisced. He felt warm, fulfilled, like he had achieved the American dream. Yet, as he stood amidst the vibrant laughter, a lurking storm threatened to darken his day. Little did he know, this barbecue would unravel everything he held dear. His life was good. The barbecue joint had thrived for over a decade, and with it, his family had built a beautiful life. The aroma of smoked brisket and grilled veggies wafted through the neighborhood, making mouths water and hearts swell. He tossed food to his wife, Emily, often sharing a wink and a smile that told a story of love and partnership stronger than Texas tea. But hidden behind that facade, shadows danced, and Jake had no idea. He wandered to refill the drink station when he overheard a hushed conversation. It was Emily and Ryan, his best friend, his right-hand man. "We can't keep doing this," Emily whispered, her voice shaky. Jake froze, an icy grip clutching his chest. What were they talking about? Curiosity turned to dread, and as he strained to listen, the words tumbled into his heart like falling stones. "I love you," she said, and just like that, his world began to shatter. Jake's heart raced, betrayal twisted like a knife within him. Every moment he had cherished, the family dinners, the late-night talks flashed through his mind, now tainted by doubt and disbelief. All the laughter surrounding him felt like knives, joyful moments morphing into haunting echoes of lies. Gripping the counter, he fought the urge to run, to scream, to confront. Instead, he inhaled the deeper sense of charred meat and camaraderie, trying to find solace in the community that held him up for years. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As he attempted to focus on the faces around him, Jake felt like a ghost. Friends came to him, exchanging jokes and praises, but inside, layers of anger and heartbreak boiled over, drowning out the joyful noise. He felt like a dam about to break. Each laugh stung him deeper, and the pain of loss twisted tighter around him. Should he confront them? Would it bring closure or just more chaos? As he gathered his thoughts, preparing to step forward and face his wife and friend, time stood still. He took a deep breath, heart pounding like a drum. His heart ached with unanswered questions. What could he really say? Did he even want to forgive? Each word stood heavy on his lips, a struggle between a desperate need for resolution and a burning desire for justice. How would this barbecue end, the warmth of community or the chill of betrayal? In that moment of uncertainty, Jake stood at the crossroads, wondering which path would lead him to reclaim the dignity he thought he had lost. Jake clenched his fists at his sides, battling the raging storm inside him. The sun was setting, casting golden hues over the gathering, as if mocking his inner turmoil. He glanced over to Emily, her laughter ringing out like a cruel taunt. Ryan sat beside her, his face betraying the guilt of a man caught in a web of his own making. With every chuckle, the atmosphere felt like barbed wire tightening around Jake's chest. "Hey, Jake. You've got to try these grilled peaches." Mark, one of the neighbors, called from the other side of the yard. He waved a plate, blissfully unaware of the devastation unfolding just a few feet away. Jake forced a smile, but it felt foreign on his face. "Yeah, I'll be there." He stepped back, his heart racing again. How long could he pretend? With each passing moment, he felt the weight of the world sinking in. The laughter felt like 1,000 needles piercing his skin, suffocating him. He needed to confront them. No more pretending. No more games. But how? As he turned toward the sound of their laughter, another neighbor, Karen, caught his eye. She stood with her husband, glancing over, her expression shifting to concern. Perhaps she sensed his turmoil, the cracks forming on his perfect little world. It was like being in a movie where the hero finally realizes the truth, but this wasn't a movie, and he was no hero. Absorbed in thought, he took a step forward, fate closing in around him. Just as he ready to address Emily, a small hand tugged at his shirt. It was Mia, their daughter, bright-eyed and full of innocence. "Daddy, can we play catch?" she asked, her face lit with pure joy. Her innocent smile pierced through his anguish, squeezing his heart painfully. He looked down at her, torn. She was innocent in all this, blissfully unaware of the darkness creeping through their family. Jake felt the urge to protect her, to keep her away from whatever storm was brewing between him and her mother. "Not right now, sweetheart. I'll come find you in a bit, okay?" Her smile faltered just a little, but she nodded and ran off to play with her friends. He watched her go, guilt washing over him. He was trapped in a swarm of betrayal and confusion, and yet, all Mia knew was love. Steeling himself, he turned toward Emily and Ryan again, their conversation too easy, too familiar. With a fire igniting in his chest, he took a step, but a voice broke through the noise. "Jake, beer." It was Frank, oblivious, holding a bottle aloft like a trophy. "No thanks," Jake replied, gritting his teeth. He needed to pull himself together. After all, this was supposed to be a celebration. But the more he tried to focus on the laughter around him, the deeper he sank into a pit of despair. Suddenly, all the air rushed out of the moment. It was time to face the truth, the looming question of loyalty and love. He would confront both of them. Jake could feel the tears threatening, but he blinked them back. They would have to wait. He took a deep breath, squared his shoulders, and marched toward Emily and Ryan. The world around him faded into silence, the balloon of anticipation becoming unbearable. Would he confront them about the betrayal? Or would he choose an unexpected path? "Emily." Ryan, his voice trembled, a mix of hurt and anger washing over him. In that heartbeat, with the world spinning madly around them, everything stood on the edge of revelation. What would happen when the truth finally came out? Jake's heart raced as he gathered the courage to say what needed to be said. The laughter from the crowd blurred into an indistinguishable buzz. He could see the shift in Emily and Ryan's expressions, the lightheartedness evaporating as they realized he had finally approached them. "Can we talk?" he managed, his voice steadier than he felt. Emily looked from Jake to Ryan, her brows furrowing slightly. "Now? Here?" she asked, confusion cloaked in her tone. "Yeah, now," Jake replied, his patience for niceties wearing thin. He could hear Mia's laughter in the background, the sound juxtaposed against the storm brewing within him. Ryan glanced at Emily, then at Jake, a hint of apprehension darting across his face. "Maybe we should find a quieter spot," he suggested, but Jake interrupted. "No. This is where it has to be. Here. Now." There was no escaping this moment, no hiding from the truth any longer. A thick silence hung in the air. The crowd seemed to recede, the sounds of the gathering fading into a distant echo. Emily shifted her weight, discomfort visible in the way her fingers played with her hair. "Jake, please," she started, but he held up a hand, cutting her off. "Don't. Just don't. I've seen how you two are together. It's not okay." His words were sharp, and the pain sliced through the air like 1,000 glass shards. Each syllable was laced with the weight of unspoken feelings, buried hurt and confusion. Jake felt the tears burning behind his eyelids again, but he fought to keep them at bay. He wouldn't break down here, not with so many eyes on him. He could practically feel the weight of every neighbor's gaze, wondering what kind of spectacle was unfolding. Emily opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Ryan shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting away. The tension escalated, an invisible force pulling everyone closer to the edge of chaos. What happened to us, Em? We were supposed to be a team. Jake felt the anger boil within him. And Ryan, of all people. You should have known better. The words hung thick in the air. The laughter and chatter faded completely, replaced by palpable tension. It was just the three of them now, lost in an emotional battle that felt like a ticking bomb waiting to explode. Emily finally found her voice. Jake, I didn't mean for it to happen that way. It was a mistake, she stammered, desperation etching lines across her forehead. You know how things have been between us. Jake felt a swell of emotion, a mix of anger and unbearable sadness. No more excuses, Emily. You can't blame me for everything that went wrong. I thought we could fix this. Mia's laughter rang clear through the air, blissfully unaware of the turmoil unfolding between her parents. At that moment, her innocence felt like a sharp contrast. Jake's heart ached for her, suffocated by the realization that this wasn't just about him and Emily anymore. It was about Mia's future, too. He took a deep breath, his emotions close to breaking. If you didn't mean for it to happen, why didn't you just tell me? Emily's eyes shimmered, a sign of vulnerability that Jake hadn't seen in a long time. Because I was scared, Jake. I didn't want to lose everything. Guess what? It might already be gone. Suddenly, he felt the urge to run, to escape the weight of their shared history laid out for the world to witness. But he didn't move. Instead, he stood firm, the ground beneath him feeling like a fragile line separating love from betrayal. Jake stared into Emily's eyes, searching for understanding, for some glimmer of hope. The crowd's murmurs began to pick up again, an awareness seeping into the atmosphere as onlookers sensed the tension crackling between them. I need time to figure this out, he finally said, his voice quiet. As he turned to leave, each step felt like a step away from everything he had known, every fiber in him screaming to stay and fight. But maybe this was the fight he needed, the fight for his own heart. What would happen if he turned back? Would that revelation be the closure he needed or just another open wound? Jake walked away, a mixture of anger and heartbreak churning in his chest. The crowd around him buzzed like a swarm of bees, oblivious to the chaos in his mind. Mia's laughter floated through the air, sweet and innocent, and it cut him through to the bone. How could he face her knowing that the fabric of their family was unraveling? He found a quiet corner near the old oak tree, its branches sprawling like arms reaching out. The leaves rustled, whispering secrets he didn't want to hear. He closed his eyes, attempting to block out the world and the weight of everything he had just confronted. Why did it have to come to this, he murmured to himself, his voice barely a whisper. The memories of Emily laughing, flirting, and sharing stolen moments with Ryan haunted him. It felt like a knife twisting deeper with each recollection. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He hesitated, but when he saw Mia's name flash across the screen, dread washed over him. Daddy, where are you? She texted. It was simple, yet it pierced his heart. He could picture her small face, brows knit with concern, looking for him in the gathering. Swallowing hard, he replied quickly, just taking a breath, sweetheart. Be back in a minute. He needed a moment, but could he really keep running? As he leaned against the tree, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that he was losing not just Emily, but himself. Somewhere in trying to hold their family together, he had pressed down on his own needs and desires. Voices broke through his thoughts. A couple of neighborhood friends wandered by, laughing and sharing stories, unaware of the storm brewing just a few yards away. Jake barely acknowledged them, feeling the walls close in. How could life move on so freely while his was crumbling? After a few moments, he finally took a deep breath and headed back toward the crowd. Jake needed to show Mia it was okay, that everything would be fine, even if it felt anything but. But he couldn't shake the doubt that twisted in his stomach. When he returned, Mia spotted him immediately and ran to his side, her arms wrapping around him tightly. It felt warm, a bittersweet comfort that urged him to put on a brave face. Jake knelt down, looking her directly in the eyes. "Hey there, kiddo. You okay?" he asked softly. "Yeah. Can we have ice cream soon?" She brightened, her innocence like a ray of hope. "Of course. Let us find your mom." He glanced around, spotting Emily on the other side of the yard. She was still talking with Ryan, laughter spilling from her lips that seemed to mock the hurt he felt inside. Jake's heart sank again. The vision of a family he once cherished felt more misleading than ever. Could he find a way to confront her without the chaos erupting again? "Mia, go grab your mom, alright?" As Mia skipped off, Jake couldn't help but feel a looming sense of dread. Would confronting Emily lead to answers or additional heartbreak? Would it clarify where they stood, or just plunge them deeper into turmoil? Mia bounded back, and Emily followed closely behind, her smile faltering as her eyes met Jake's. The air thickened, a storm gathering strength as they faced each other. "Jake, Emily began, but he held up a hand once more, his heart leaden. "No more excuses, Em," he interrupted. "We can't keep pretending everything's fine." Jake could feel all eyes on them, the curiosity, the tension. As Mia squeezed his hand tightly, he wondered if he could make it through this confrontation without falling apart. "What do you want from me, Jake?" Emily's voice trembled, the veneer of confidence cracked. "I want the truth," Jake replied, more firmly this time. He felt a deep breath ebb and flow within him, a sense of anticipation coiling tighter. As the words hung between them, a sharp hush fell over the crowd, almost as if the world had paused, waiting for the next breath. Moments stretched out painfully, and then, just as Emily opened her mouth to speak, it struck him this might end up being the hardest thing he'd ever have to face. Could he handle the truth? Or would it shatter whatever hope remained? Jake stood there, his heart racing. The world around him faded, drowned out by the pounding in his chest and the weight of Emily's penetrating gaze. He wanted to believe it was just a misunderstanding, that somehow everything would return to normal if they could just discuss it rationally. But deep down, the voice of reason whispered that there was more at play. As Emily's lips parted slightly, time felt suspended. The flickering flames of the grill cast dancing shadows on their faces, illuminating the tension swirling in the air. Mia, oblivious to the strife, clutched Jake's hand tightly, her little fingers trembling. Would this moment define their lives? "Emily," Jake started, summoning every ounce of courage he could muster. "We can't sweep this under the rug any longer. It's eating us alive." He could see the conflict in her eyes. It was as if she weighed her words, searching for the right combo to alleviate the churning chaos. "I didn't want you to find out like this. I thought I could make it better," she finally whispered, her voice shaky. "Better?" Jake felt hot anger surge through him. "You call lying and laughing with Ryan better? You have no idea how that makes me feel. Do you?" The truth hit him like a freight train. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the deception, the illusion of a happy family they'd built till now, a facade that felt heavier than lead. A strangled silence followed, and the vibrant noises of the gathering faded into the background. Jake caught a glimpse of Ryan, standing a bit farther off, his expression a mix of guilt and defiance. Anger surged again, and Jake clenched his fists. "Jake, please." "I was lost," Emily pleaded, her voice breaking. "Things haven't been the same between us for a long time. I didn't know how to reach out. I thought being with Ryan would help fill that void." She paused, collecting herself. "But it didn't. It just made things worse." "Worse how?" Jake's stomach twisted in knots. "By adding a layer of lies. Why did you think I'd react any differently? Did you even care about me at all?" "I do care. I thought you didn't love me anymore, Jake. I wanted to feel wanted." Tears streamed down her cheeks, and for a moment, the bitterness in his chest eased, replaced by a flicker of compassion. Could it be possible? But as quickly as that thought came, Jake shoved it aside. You could have talked to me. We could have found a way through this together. Mia squeezed his hand even tighter, sensing the shift. The poor girl, blissfully unaware of the impending fallout, looked from Jake to Emily, confusion clouding her innocent eyes. Mommy, is everything okay? Mia finally asked, her little voice a beacon piercing through the tension. Emily dropped to Mia's level, her heart breaking anew as she affirmed, everything's going to be okay, sweet pea. Just grown-up stuff. Jake hated that. This wasn't just grown-up stuff. It was a fracture threatening to split their family apart. Is it? He challenged. How can we make it okay? Can you honestly tell me you want to make this work? That you want us? The silence that ensued was deafening, as if the whole world held its breath. Emily's eyes pleaded for forgiveness, understanding, an unconditional chance to rebuild. But Jake felt torn. Jake, she whispered, a tremor in her voice. I love you. Yes, but do you love me enough to fight for us? With anticipation swelling in his chest, Jake waited. Time hung heavy, instilling a deep sense of anxiety and hope. Emily hesitated, the crowd around them all but disappearing from his consciousness. He needed her answer today, he needed truth, even if it cut him deeply. But could he hold on to any hope if he didn't know where her heart truly lay? Just as Jake prepared to push for more, Mia's small hand tugged at his. Daddy, let us go get ice cream now. She chirped. Jake turned to her, the innocence of her words grounding him for an instant. He realized he had to make a choice, not just for himself but for Mia too. Would he risk it all for the chance to repair their family, or was it time to let go? As he looked back to Emily, eyes wide with a world of possibilities, he knew the decision that lay ahead would change everything. But what if that change shattered their already fragile bonds? Jake felt the heat of the summer evening pressing down on him, the tension around the grill fading as he focused on the delicate situation at hand. Mia's plea for ice cream echoed in his mind, but he couldn't shake the weight pressing heavily on his chest. It was a conflict between the innocent joy of fatherhood and the painful throes of betrayal. Emily's eyes glistened with fresh tears, reflecting a mixture of regret and desperation. She reached toward him, her fingers trembling, but Jake couldn't let her touch him, not like this. Not when everything felt so raw, so fractured. I don't know what to say, he finally admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Do I even know who you are anymore? The words hung there, charged with disbelief and sorrow. Please, just let me explain, she begged, her voice cracking. I've made mistakes, and I regret how things have turned out. I was scared of losing you, scared of what we had become. In the back of his mind, jealousy toward Ryan simmered. Jake had always thought of him as a friend, the kind of guy who'd help him move furniture when he needed it or share a laugh over a game. How could he have betrayed not just him, but the family they built together? It felt like a cloak of betrayal wrapped around him, squeezing tighter with each thought. Scared doesn't justify a choice like that, Emily, he said, voice firm now. You had us, our little family. You had love. What you did, it's unforgivable. Mia tugged at his hand again, and he knelt down to meet her curious gaze. Can we please get ice cream, Daddy? Please. Her innocent enthusiasm pierced the air like a ray of light breaking through dark clouds. Jake felt his heart ache. Mia didn't deserve any of this uncertainty. She was just a little girl, hoping for a sweet treat, while her parents danced around this abyss of pain and confusion. His thoughts shifted back to Emily, her silhouette blending into the background as shadows deepened around them. You need to answer me, Emily. What do you want? Now, right now. Do you want us to work? Emily hesitated again, her eyes locking onto his with an intensity that reminded him of the moments they shared when they first fell in love, those spark-filled days that seemed a lifetime away. I want to fight for us, she finally said, the words tumbling out like a confession filled with uncertainty. I don't want to lose you, Jake. Not now, not ever. I want our family back. His heart fluttered at the plea, battling against the waves of anger still within him. Could he truly believe her? Could those words mend all that had been broken? Jake looked at Mia, her hopeful expressions pulling at the corners of his mouth, the ice cream momentarily forgotten. The night held its breath, as did he, feeling the tenuous threads of their future start to weave something new and fragile. Just as he opened his mouth to respond, a playful shriek pierced through the atmosphere, the sound of laughter as the neighborhood kids darted past, their joy ricocheting off the night air. It was infectious, the way they reveled in their moments of freedom, echoing a simple, uncomplicated happiness that seemed so far out of reach. Daddy? Mia's voice wavered, breaking through his thoughts. Can we get ice cream now and go to the park? Please, please, please. Okay, Jake finally said, exhaling the weight he didn't know he was holding. Let us go get some ice cream. He stood up, pulling Mia close as he glanced back at Emily. There was a flicker of hope in her eyes, the kind that promised another chance, but it was still rooted in uncertainty. But outside, in the warm summer breeze, a reminder echoed in his heart. Maybe hope wasn't just for himself. Mia deserved a family that could laugh again, even if it would take time to heal. As they began to walk away, he felt a rush of regret mixed with determination. He could choose this path, but it wouldn't be easy. And maybe, just maybe, together they could find a way back through the darkness. Emily's voice broke through his thoughts once more. Jake, I'll prove it to you, I promise. He kept moving forward, heart beating faster. Could she follow through? Would they truly emerge stronger than before? As they approached the ice cream truck, something deep within him nudged at his thoughts. Perhaps the real fight was just beginning. The vibrant colors of the ice cream truck glowed like a beacon against the cloudless sky, casting a playful shadow that felt almost inviting. But as they approached, Jake could sense that weight in his chest shifting again, mingling hope with doubt. The laughter of children playing nearby was swallowed by the roar of his own worries, each pulse of his heart reminding him of the fragility of their situation. Mia skipped ahead, her pigtails bouncing with excitement. Daddy, look! Can I get sprinkles? She yelled, eyes wide with anticipation. Jake wanted nothing more than to say yes without reservation, to drown out the thoughts clawing at his mind, but the past loomed like a storm cloud overhead, threatening to burst. Of course, he managed, putting on a brave face. He met Emily's gaze briefly before directing his attention back to Mia. Get whatever you want, he added, forcing a smile as he felt his phone vibrate in his pocket. He paused for a moment, debating whether to check the message or stay in this fragile moment of peace with Mia and Emily. Just as he decided to focus on his daughter, he caught sight of Ryan across the street, leaning against his car with that same casual grin. Something in Jake's gut twisted. Mia's voice broke through his thoughts again. Daddy, can you hold my ice cream too? She looked up at him with those big, trusting eyes, and for just a moment, Jake's heart swelled. He bent down, scooping her into his arms, embracing the innocence he wanted to protect. The interactions between families around them felt like a stark contrast to his own spiraling thoughts. A couple nearby was laughing, sharing bites of their ice creams, while another group of children tumbled to the ground, giggling uncontrollably. How he longed for that kind of carefree joy, but his mind drifted firmly back to reality. Hey, I think maybe we should, he began, glancing at Emily, searching for clarity in the moment. Jake, she whispered, her voice steady but tinged with urgency, I mean it. I've changed. I'll do everything I can to prove that to you. I just need you to trust me again. Jake's heart raced. Was that even possible? The very thought made him feel dizzy. How could he trust her when everything felt so broken? He gazed at Mia, who was now lost in a world of sprinkles and waffle cones, a smile stretching across her face. Jake wanted to believe Emily. He forced a deep breath. Something heavy lifted, if only a little. Maybe they could find a way through this, together even if it felt impossible right now. Maybe they were on the brink of something, a chance to rebuild what felt lost. Suddenly, the air changed. Jake looked up to see Ryan approaching, amusement dancing in his eyes. The tension in Jake's gut tightened into a knot. This was the man who had crossed the line, yet here he was, completely relaxed, completely oblivious. "Mia!" Ryan called out, waving as he came closer. "Hey there! You getting ice cream? That's the best part of summer." Jake's fists clenched instinctively. He glanced at Emily, her expression had shifted to one of sharp discomfort. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" Jake managed to keep his voice calm, but a growl simmered underneath. "I was just in the area," Ryan said lightly, but the churning in Jake's stomach intensified. Mia tugged at Jake's sleeve, caught in the uncomfortable tension. "Daddy, can Ryan come eat ice cream with us?" A split second stretched before him, suspending time. As the situation darkened, a part of Jake wrestled with the notion. Here was Ryan, the smiling betrayer. Jake's heart raced not with anger alone, but something deeper, something primal. How many moments had he shared with Ryan without ever sensing the silent storm brewing under the surface? Emily's eyes darted from Jake to Ryan, a plea for calm, a need for understanding. All of it felt like an impending avalanche. In that crucial moment, Jake weighed an opportunity against his anger. Did he dare turn this into a confrontation or attempt to keep the peace for Mia's sake? As Ryan took a step closer, the atmosphere thick with tension. Jake realized they were standing at a crossroads. Would he take the safe route for Mia? Or confront the man who had shattered everything? The choice cracked open a new chapter, one that Jake had to navigate carefully. Confidence surged within him, but the undertow of uncertainty still loomed large. The night could unfold in infinite directions, and Jake had to decide which path he'd take to protect his family. But deep down, one fact echoed louder than the rest: the answers he sought were never going to come easy. Jake's stomach twisted tighter as Ryan closed the distance, the confident smile etched on his face only adding fuel to the fire of Jake's brewing frustration. It wasn't just about Ryan's presence, it was about the haunting implications of their past. Memories flashed through Jake's mind, the nights filled with laughter, shared secrets, and trust that now felt like shards of glass. "Mia," Jake said, smoothing his voice as he knelt down to her level, "how about we save some ice cream for later? Let us go play in the park, okay?" He hoped she wouldn't sense the strain in his voice, but he wanted to protect her from this awkwardness. "But Daddy, Ryan's here," Mia protested, her deflated face replacing the delight she had just moments ago. "There's plenty of time for ice cream," Emily chimed in, squeezing Jake's shoulder briefly, urging him to soften his hardened stance. "Yeah, come on, Mia. Don't you want to enjoy your ice cream later while playing?" Ryan interjected, his tone dripping with an unsettling ease. It felt like a trap laid out just for Jake. Mia hesitated, uncertainty flickering in her wide eyes. But I want sprinkles." The tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Jake's heart raced, battling between the need to confront Ryan and the desire to answer his daughter's innocent wish. "Okay, just a minute," Jake said, standing up straight, the decision made. He stand his ground. "Ryan, it's great to see you, but I'm not comfortable with this. Not now." Ryan's smile faltered slightly, the perfectly crafted facade slipping as he glanced at Emily, who stood at Jake's side, arms crossed. "I get it. Just thought it would be nice to catch up, you know." "Nice would be not disrupting our family time," Jake replied sharply, each word holding a weight he hoped Ryan could feel. Mia pulled on Jake's sleeve again, her brows knitting together. "Daddy? Can we please just get our ice cream?" Jake softened, his heart breaking just a little at her misunderstanding. He didn't want to ruin her day, and in that moment, he felt torn. He wanted to protect her innocence and still shield her from the reality of their situation. "Okay, let us get ice cream," he relented, forcing a smile for Mia. Emily's eyes met his for a fleeting moment, a silent acknowledgement passing between them, an understanding of their struggle, a shared desire to do what was best for Mia. As they approached the truck, the sound of cheerful jingles filled the air, contrasting sharply with the tension still lurking beneath the surface. Jake tried to focus on Mia, who was practically bouncing on her feet with excitement. "Daddy, can I get 2 scoops?" Her voice rang with pure enthusiasm, pulling at his heartstrings. "Sure. But only if you can handle it," he replied, his own smile feeling more genuine as he watched her eyes light up. Mia giggled, the sound piercing through the weight in his chest, and everything momentarily felt right. He leaned down to her, "Anything for my girl." But as the vendor handed over Mia's treat, Jake's gaze drifted back to Ryan, whose casual demeanor now felt like a mask hiding deeper intentions. Were those playful smiles masking something more sinister? He couldn't shake the feeling that this moment was just a facade, a way for Ryan to insert himself back into their lives like he belonged. "Hey, Mia," Ryan called, kneeling to her level. "You can count on me, you know. We could have some fun together." "Yeah. Fun." She clapped, completely unaware of the undercurrents swirling around her. Jake clenched his jaw, unsure if he could maintain his composure for much longer. As Mia turned to bask in the attention, Jake felt a surge of protectiveness wash over him. He wanted to yell at Ryan to back off or to run far away with Mia, far from the complexities of adulthood and betrayal. Instead, he took a deep breath and forced himself to remain still. "Actually, why don't we take Mia to the playground after we finish? It's nearby," Emily suggested, her voice steady but cautious. Ryan's expression rendered a moment of surprise, quick realizing he was outnumbered. "Sure, sounds like a plan," he said, though Jake could hear the falter in his tone. As they all started walking toward the park, an unsettling thought sparked within him. What if this was just a game to Ryan? A way to disrupt their fragile peace? Would tomorrow bring more of the same? Would confrontations escalate? Jake's heart raced not just out of anger, but from a fear that the real fight was only just beginning. With Mia happily licking her cone, Jake steeled himself. He couldn't let Ryan worm his way back into their lives. What had been rupture must become resilience. But as the park loomed closer, a part of him wondered just what would happen when the walls they built began to shake, and trust was put to the ultimate test. Would love rise from the ashes, or would everything they fought for come crashing down? The laughter of children echoed around the park as they arrived, the bright green grass and sunshine seeming almost cheerful, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside Jake. He forced himself to focus on Mia, watching her run ahead, ice cream in hand, her laughter bubbling over and filling the air with warmth. It was a relief to see her undeterred by the tension, yet an unsettling knot tightened in his stomach at the thought of Ryan lurking behind. "Look, Daddy! The swings!" Mia shouted, pointing excitedly. Jake glanced over his shoulder at Ryan, who was still trailing a few steps behind, a smile plastered on his face that felt more like a challenge than a gesture of goodwill. Could he really be here for Mia's sake? Or was there something darker at play? Jake's protective instincts kicked in fiercely. "Let us go, kiddo," Jake said, quickening his pace to catch up with her. He could feel Emily's presence beside him, a silent strength, and against all odds, it anchored him. She smiled at him, and he dared to lock eyes, hoping for reassurance. "Just keep her close," she whispered, and he knew she understood. Mia swung back and forth, delighting in the rush of wind through her hair. For those few moments, Jake allowed himself to forget the discomfort and just enjoy being a father. The simple joy on her face was infectious. But still, Jake's heart raced as he kept glancing at Ryan. The man's shadow felt long and ominous, despite his carefree demeanor. "Mia, are you ready to go down the slide?" Jake asked, hoping to distract her from Ryan. "Can you help me?" She beamed, bouncing on the swings, eyes sparkling like stars in the sky. "Of course," he replied, a surge of affection filling him as he wrapped her in his arms and helped her off the swing, setting her down gently. For just that moment, everything felt right. As they approached the slide, Jake's gaze inadvertently shifted towards Ryan. To his surprise, Ryan was now seated on a nearby bench, pretending to scroll through his phone but watching the scene unfold with a keen interest. There was something unsettling about his relaxed posture, an ease that felt false. "Let us hurry." Mia giggled, pulling Jake toward the slide. But just as they reached the top, there was a ripple of laughter from other parents. Jake's defenses kicked back in. He turned his head slightly, just enough to notice Emily and Ryan engaging in conversation. The light in Ryan's eyes was unsettling, too much like a predator surveying the landscape. Jake's heart pounded in his chest as he forced himself to focus on Mia, but the moment of laughter faded as he saw her peeking over the edge of the slide. "Daddy, watch me!" she exclaimed, and with that, she let go, zipping down with abandon. Jake held his breath until she reached the bottom, squealing with delight. That was so much fun. But that sense of joy was short-lived. As Mia rushed back for another go, Jake caught a glimpse of Ryan again. He had stood up now, meandering closer, a casualness to his posture that set Jake on edge. What was he planning? Were his actions all part of some twisted game to win Mia's affection, to try and re-establish himself in a life that had moved on? "Jake!" Ryan called out, the matching smile still plastered on his face. "Want to catch up? It's been too long." "No, thanks," Jake replied, not bothering to hide the coldness in his tone. He may have been trying to protect his daughter's spirit, but there was no way he'd allow Ryan to bulldoze his way into their lives. Ryan's expression flickered momentarily, but then before Jake could fully process it, he approached, his easygoing demeanor lurking dangerously close to the surface. "I just want to be a part of Mia's life." "Is that so wrong?" Jake felt anger bubble up again, but he swallowed it down, reminding himself of the reason they were here. "What you want and what's best for Mia aren't necessarily the same thing," he replied firmly. For a moment, there was silence. A whispered tension moved between the three of them, and Mia, blissfully unaware, slipped down the slide again. But in that silence, an electric thought jolted through Jake. Something more was at play here. Ryan's eyes sparkled with a challenge, one that Jake wasn't prepared to face alone, not without Emily by his side. The question of what would happen next loomed large, filling him with dread. Would they be able to confront Ryan together? Would they uncover the true motives beneath his facade? "Okay, let's focus on Mia," Emily said, breaking the tension as she stepped closer to Jake. He nodded, heart racing, but as he turned to watch Mia laugh again, he caught Ryan watching him. The smirk on Ryan's lips felt as if it were an omen of a battle still to come. Would Jake be ready when the stakes turned higher? The air was thick with uncertainty, and all Jake could do was prepare himself for what lay ahead. Would he be able to shield Mia from the shadows of their past, or would the ghosts of their history draw them all into a confrontation they couldn't escape? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the park, Jake took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of his heart steady a little. He had to focus on the present, on Mia's laughter and simple joys. It was about her now, about rebuilding. But the weight of uncertainty pressed down on him. Could he really keep her safe from the looming storm that Ryan represented? "Daddy, look!" Mia squealed, her joyful voice breaking through his turbulent thoughts. She was already at the bottom of the slide, bouncing on her feet, waving him over. "Coming, sweetie!" Jake shouted back, forcing a grin as he jogged toward her. The moment felt precious, a reminder of everything worth fighting for. He reached her just in time for another dip down the slide. "You're so fast!" he exclaimed, catching her as she ran back for more. There was something enchanting about her laughter, yet faint echoes of guilt clawed at the edges of his mind. As he watched her enjoy these innocent moments, a surge of hope blossomed inside him. Perhaps it was possible to heal, though the path was hazy and twisted. Meanwhile, at the edge of the playground, he could see Ryan leaning against a tree, phone in hand, but eyeing them like a hawk. Jake's stomach churned again, especially as he felt Emily's tension at his side. She shifted, a worried expression dancing across her face. "Jake," she whispered, urgency lacing her voice as she glanced at Ryan, "we need to talk about him." "I know," Jake cut in, heart racing. "But let us just focus on Mia for now." Emily nodded, her determination blending with a whisper of fear, a silent agreement that they would stay strong for their daughter. Mia darted back to them, arms wide as she giggled, "I want to be a butterfly." Jake grabbed her, lifting her high into the air, and she squealed, spinning in circles. "That's a beautiful butterfly." Emily laughed, her voice lightening the thick tension lingering in the air. Watching them, Jake remarked how easily laughter could breach walls, even ones built on sorrow. Yet, as they played, his mind flickered back to the confrontation that loomed. He remembered the chill of finding out about Emily's betrayal, the heartache rippling through their lives that had twisted everything he thought he knew about love. "Hey, you two!" Ryan called, his voice echoing through the laughter and chatter of the playground. "How about I join in? I can help Mia be a super butterfly." Jake's insides twisted. "Maybe not," he said, steeling his jaw as he placed Mia back on the ground. She frowned slightly at the sudden tension, sensing the undercurrents but not where they led. "Mia, stay by me," Jake instructed gently, and she nodded, curious yet compliant. He turned to Emily, brows furrowed. "We need to set boundaries here. This is a family time, and we need to reclaim that." Emily's eyes widened, a flicker of understanding passing between them. This was their chance to stand strong. "You're right," she breathed, "together." Jake nodded, emboldened by her support. They moved toward Ryan, whose presence felt almost imposing against the backdrop of their family. "Ryan," Jake said firmly, holding back any anger. "This isn't the time or place for you to join in. We are creating new moments for our daughter, and you need to respect that." Ryan's expression shifted, but there was a hint of amusement that didn't settle well in Jake's gut. "Come on, man. I thought we were friends. I'm just trying to reconnect with Mia. The more the merrier, right?" "That's not how this works," Jake responded, voice steady. "What you did affected all of us, especially Emily and Mia. You need to understand that this is our family's healing time, and it's crucial you back off." For a fraction of a moment, Ryan's facade slipped, his self-assured persona cracking under the pressure of Jake's words. "I didn't intend to hurt anyone, Jake." Emily stepped forward, her voice taking on a new strength. "You can't just waltz back into our lives like nothing happened. It's not fair to us or to Mia. This is our chance to rebuild, and we won't let you disrupt that ever again." As the words hung in the air, Jake felt a flicker of triumph and pride. They were standing united, and the bond tethering them felt stronger than before. Ryan hesitated, momentarily nonplussed by the two of them standing firm against him. "Fine," he finally said, shrugging. "I'll give you space." With that, he turned on his heel and walked away. The haunting grip of anger slowly eased as Jake watched him leave. It was a step, but it was a necessary one. Holding Mia close, he felt the warmth of the moment blossom around them. "You ready to fly some more, butterfly?" He grinned, watching her eyes light up again. "Yes." She cheered, embracing her newfound freedom. As the sun dipped further beneath the horizon, turning the sky into soft streaks of orange and purple, Jake looked at Emily. Their eyes locked, and for the first time since the barbecue, Jake felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. They could do this together. As they shared a smile, the weight of uncertainty began to lift. It wouldn't be easy, but Jake understood that love was often a series of moments stitched together, and they were ready to take the next step forward. Playing with their little girl, they embraced the warmth of this new chapter, believing they could navigate the challenges ahead, piece by piece, moment by moment. And in that moment full of laughter and love, Jake felt something shift deep inside, a spark of resilience that told him they'd find a way. If you're moved by this story, you need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive adventures. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and keep the stories alive. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Your voices matter. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need a dose of inspiration. This is the moment to show your support.